The first thing that I would like to start off with is just the two of you introducing yourselves.
I'm Natalee. I am 16 years old, but I started using the NewGait when I was 11 or 12.
And I'm Natalee's mom, Bobby.
Bobby, can you explain a little bit about why Natalee was interested in NewGait, a little bit more about her diagnosis, that kind of thing?
When she was about 10 years old, she was diagnosed with a tumor inside of her spinal cord. She had surgery. It was cancerous, but it was completely gone. It was just left with some recovery. The doctors weren't sure if she was going to be able to walk after the surgery, just the sensitivity of where the surgery was. So she was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. 3 to 4 times a day, physical therapy, and it eventually switched off of focus from her. She was diagnosed with a foot drop in her left leg, her left foot, but the foot drop was just causing, a little bit of a limp. The therapy eventually started to get switched over to focusing on her back, as she was also diagnosed with kyphosis. The doctors were thrilled with her progress, and we were also, but, just feeling like she still needed a little bit more, trying to just give her as much of that back as we possibly could. And that's kind of where we met with Kim.
All right, let's take it a little bit to Natalee. The physical therapist did a pretty good job. They were able to get you up to 90 to 95% in your recovery, but there was just a little bit left of recovery that you could get. What was your walking ability, your gait sort of at that point, and what were you looking to achieve?
At that point in time, I was able to walk without like a walker or a cane, which was a pretty big accomplishment for me, but I was still pretty clumsy at times with walking, and if I overexerted myself, I'd be tripping a lot and just have like a noticeable limp that people would comment on a lot. And for me, my biggest goal out of using the NewGait was to try and reduce and get rid of that limp, because it was really hard for me when people would be like, "Hey, you're limping, are you okay?" And I'd just be like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's sort of a normal thing." But with the NewGait, it was able to become not a normal thing and help me to get a stronger, more regular gait pattern.
What do you remember sort of about that time and using it?
I remember it was really hard for me getting into the routine and habit of using it constantly, because at first it was a lot to put on. But the more and more that I used it, the more I could see a difference and the less people would comment on my limp. And then with the new one, that's just from the knee down, was so much easier to put on. I used it a lot more, and I still use it from time to time, because it's just so easy to put on, and it helps so much. It's just if I'm having a little bit of pain, if I'm noticing a lip, and it's just so helpful. Even if you're not using it consistently, just using it every now and then, it really does make a difference and help out.
And Kim, did you know that you were going to modify it? So before her visit?
The most important thing for a healthcare provider is to be a good listener. And what I heard Natalee saying to me is, well, I like it, and I wish I made myself put it on more, but actually, here are my complaints. It's a lot for me to put on. And if I am going out somewhere and I have to, just to put on the waist belt and the shoulder harness and all of that. And then we had figured out, so what I had learned over the 2 years between when Natalee first came to me and she came back was, if we want to fill this swing phase and improve this swing phase, sometimes key is to really fill the extensors and get a good push off, a good toe off right at the end of stance phase, and that'll give us the momentum to swing that leg forward. So that's when we started to really play around with those bands in the back. And when we figured out on Natalee, when we put plantar flexion and dorsiflexion and not put anything above the knee, my thought was, not going to stay up. And Natalee's not going to like it, but why not try it? And Natalee was like, yeah, this works. And we could see it by watching the video, oh, yep, she would toe off very effectively, swing that leg through, and the timing was just perfect.
Natalee, are there any other activities that you are now able to do that were more of a struggle prior to using the NewGait?
Yeah, so another thing that I've experienced with my leg is when I have really long, stressful days, sometimes it just breaks at night. And before the NewGait or in the early phases, this would happen a lot. Even if I was just walking around for too long, I'd wake up in the middle of the night just with such terrible pain that would only go away through taking pain medicine. But as I started using the NewGait more and more and consistently, and my leg got into that more normal pattern of actually doing what it's supposed to and being in that rhythm, that the frequency of those pains and aches lessened a lot. So I've been able to do just more on my feet and be able to just do more without having to worry of, oh, am I going to be able to walk by the time I'm done with this? The NewGait really has helped me just be able to have that confidence in myself of, I'm not going to be limping out of here by the end of the night.
I want to add, Benga, that Natalee and her mom and friend came back last winter, back to the Upper Peninsula. So we were able to not only see her another time with her PSEF, but she got to try some snowshoeing and some skiing, and I just snowshoeing it and deep snow that weekend, and trying something like cross country skiing. Like, that was another huge milestone step for her to be able to face that fear of not falling. She did not use the NewGait to do that. She did it completely without it.
Wow. So, Bobby, how has the introduction of NewGait to Natalee affected you and your husband, and just your confidence in Natalee's ability?
Just finding something that worked for her, didn't feel like it was causing her a lot of more pain. It has been really great to have found ways to alleviate as much as we can and give her as much of her that normal life back that we can, and we're very thankful for that.